So, what are some of the dreams and goals you guys have? Awesome. And what's the amount of income you would need to make every month to make those dreams become a reality? How much money do you need to make to really live your ideal life? Not the life we're willing to settle for, your ideal life. How much you need to make every month in order to live that life? And when will your current job or profession give you that income? Got it. So if you had to decide between staying at your current job or really going after your ideal life, if your job's never going to get you there, which of those would you choose? Got it. So if there was a way for you to go get your ideal life to earn that kind of income, I imagine you'd want to take advantage of it. Awesome. Well, I can take this conversation one of two different ways. I can either share with you more about PHP agency and this industry and the career and how someone gets a license to go make their ideal income, or I can share with you more about the client services and some of the strategies we help families with their money and their retirement. What would be of more value to you? Awesome. Okay. Well, then I'll dive into the client services piece. What's your experience with the financial industry? Things like 401ks, retirement, life insurance. What's your experience? Okay, cool. Well, let me pull up this slide and let me kind of share this here with you. A lot of people, when we go and make money from our job, we just go put it in the bank, right? And our money's safe. We get a pretty low rate of return. I bank with Chase. Who do you bank with? Okay, awesome. And then sometimes we're offered a 401k, an IRA. Have you ever had money in a 401k? Do you have one of those? Where do you currently save for retirement? Okay, great. And we put money in the market because there's a higher rate of return potential, but there's also a risk potential. Have you ever known anybody who's ever lost money in the market? How do you feel about that? Yeah. Well, most families put money in the bank. They put money in a 401k, and I tell folks all the time that if the bank and the 401k were good enough vehicles to get us through retirement, none of our family would have any financial challenges, right? But would you agree with me that the wealthy do things differently with their money than the middle class? Absolutely. We're simply not always taught what they do. Now, let me kind of break this down. The red line shows the US stock market from 1998 to 2016. This is like the last 20 something years of the market. It was up and then it crashed with the dot-com bubble and 9/11. It was up with the real estate run-up, then it was down with the mortgage meltdown of 0809. We had the recession, it was off like a rocket, and then obviously we had COVID. And so families' monies, it goes up and down. The wealthy, they use big insurance companies, and there's a reason why. Are you familiar with insurance-based retirement planning, or is that a newer concept? I'll explain how it works. When the stock market goes up, the 401ks, the IRAs, the mutual funds, the wealthy who have their money in an insurance-based retirement plan get most of the growth. Not all of it, but most of the growth. But when the stock market crashes and people lose their money in their 401ks, what do you see happens right here with the wealthy's money in the green line? Yeah, they don't lose. Their money just stays flat. So they're able to get most of the growth when the market's growing, but they don't lose when the market drops. But here's the real kicker. They get tax advantages. When you and I take money out of a 401k or a traditional retirement plan, we've got to give the government like 20 to 30% of our money. How do you feel about doing that? It's not exciting, is it? Do you think the wealthy are excited about giving 30% of their money to the government? Not at all. They find a way around it. The wealthy will use insurance-based retirement plans because if you structure it properly, you can access your money income tax-free at the end. Let me ask you, would you like to have an income tax-free retirement? But has anybody ever showed you how to actually build something like this? How valuable is what I just shared with you in terms of what the trainee is doing? Pretty valuable, right? Would you like help being able to design a tax-free retirement plan? Awesome. We can talk about that. Let me ask you one last question. If you were to show this image to 10 reasonable families in middle America, how many of them do you think would pick the green line out of 10? I would love for it to be all of them. The reality is it's about 6 or 7. And so what we do is we help middle American families who simply haven't had the opportunity to sit down with a licensed professional help them build plans and strategies like these. Does that kind of make sense? What questions do you have for me on anything of what the trainee's doing or how we help families do this? Okay, awesome. Well, let me go to the last slide here and show you how we help families on the insurance side. So our company here at the top is PHP Agency, People Helping People. We're not an insurance company or a financial company. We represent major insurance and financial companies that you've heard of. Have you heard of companies like Lincoln, John Hancock, Mutual of Omaha, Fidelity and Guarantee, AIG, companies like this? Yeah, absolutely. The trainee represents these and several others with their state license. Their license allows them to help families with things like helping business owners set up 401ks, helping employees who are transitioning out of their job roll over their old 401ks. Have you worked any place previously to your current job where you had a 401k? And what'd you do with your old 401k? Have you ever thought about protecting it and getting it grown for you and paying less fees rather than just letting it sit there? Awesome. I can show you how we help families with that. They help families set up IRAs and Roth IRAs. Have you ever opened up an IRA or a Roth IRA? Okay. We also help families with life insurance, long-term care, annuities, and getting families out of student loan debt and credit card debt. Let's talk about life insurance for a moment here, but let me ask you, with these 6 different services, which 2 do you currently own? And which 2 do you feel like you're most familiar with? Awesome. Well, let's talk about life insurance. What's your opinion on life insurance? Do you think it's good, bad, needed, not needed? What's your opinion? Tell me why. I feel the same way. In that you feel that way, outside of your job, who do you own your life insurance with? You don't. What's been the reason you've never pulled a trigger on owning a policy? Awesome. Got it. Well, we can go a little bit deeper into that and show you how we help families with that. I'm going to jump down here to this puzzle piece, and I'm going to share with you how the life insurance companies we represent and the policies that we're able to offer families are able to provide more value than a lot of the products that we'll get through our job, our bank, a credit union, State Farm, Farmers Allstate, New York Life, or a lot of the traditional companies. Most life insurance, when does it pay out? Yeah, when somebody dies, right? And have you ever had a family member ever get diagnosed with cancer, have a heart attack, a stroke, develop a chronic illness, or need long-term care? I have as well. My mom is a breast cancer survivor, thankfully. My dad had 3 heart attacks, and he was on around-the-clock care for 7 months before he finally passed away, so I've seen both sides of it. My condolences for your loss. When families like ours go through stuff like this, how emotionally and financially challenging is it when there's the diagnosis and then there's kind of the aftermath of that? It's difficult, right? So let me rewind the story and play this back. How different would it have been for your and my family if when there was the diagnosis, not the person passed away, there was just the diagnosis, they come home from the doctor's office and they get a call from the insurance company, and the insurance company says, hey, we're standing with you. We hope you get better. We don't want you to worry about going back to work. We just want you to worry about getting better. We're going to send a check for $100,000, $200,000, $300,000 of tax-free cash in the mailbox. It'll be there on Monday. Don't worry about the mortgage, making money, paying bills. If that had been the situation, how different would it have played out for our families if they got $150,000 in the mailbox while they were alive? Totally different, right? But does your life insurance allow you to do that? No. State Farm, Farmers Allstate, New York Life, Primerica, their policies don't do this. So it's not that they're bad companies, but the trainee's able to provide more value. In that your policy doesn't do that, when was the last time you sat down to review your policy to see if you could improve it? Got it. Are you attracted to living benefits? Do you like that? Would you like to own that? Would you like to have the peace of mind of knowing you have that backup plan? Well, one of the things that I'll have the trainee do is we'll sit down and we'll review your current policy and we'll see if we can improve it and get you that value. Awesome. Let me tell you a little bit about life insurance and some of the different types that exists. There's three different types of life insurance. The first one is called term. Are you familiar with term? Okay. Let's say that you had, in this case, a woman who's 34 years old, and from 34 to 64, she has life insurance. It's good for 30 years, and let's just say she gets a $500,000 policy. If she passes away in these 30 years, what does her family get? Yeah, the $500,000. At the end of the 30 years, what do you think happens to this policy? It expires. Yeah, she loses the coverage and she loses her money. Now, the benefit is that it's super affordable. You can get these plans, you can get a lot of insurance, usually pretty affordably if you're in decent health. Now, the downside is that it expires. So a lot of people get it when they're on a budget, then they expand into something more later on. Do you have any questions on that, or so far so good? Perfect. The second type of insurance is called an ROP. And this same woman, 34 years old, gets a $500,000 policy for 30 years. Maybe she's paying, 100, 120, 130, 40 months a month. And from 34 to 64, she has coverage. But at the end, when normally it would expire, instead of it expiring and going away, she gets the option from the insurance company. Option number one, the insurance company says the policy can go away, it can cancel, but we're going to give you a refund of all of your premiums. If your auto insurance company called and said, hey, you've had no DUIs in the last 10 years, here's all your auto insurance premium back, how excited would you be? You'd be thrilled. Well, 20, 25 years after this policy is near the end, you can get all your money back and get out of it. If the client says, I don't want to lose this policy, they can elect to keep the policy, no red tape, no fine print, the same exact premium they started with, the same death benefit they started with, and maintain their living benefits until they're 100, 120 years old. How valuable is that for families? Yeah. So people have flexibility to get out and get their money back or to keep it going at the same premium. The third type of policy is called a permanent. Now, if these were cars, this would be the Toyota, this would be the BMW, this would be the Ferrari. And with the Ferrari, a client puts their premiums into the policy for a certain number of years, 20, 30 years. They're able to keep the life insurance going for as long as they live, but there's also the ability, if they design it properly, to take money out tax-free while they're alive to supplement their retirement. How great would it be to know that you have life insurance that never is going to go away, living benefits that are going to be there forever, and you can have a tax-free retirement supplement? Yeah. Let me ask you, of these three types of policies, which stands out to you the most? Which one attracts you the most? Tell me why. Yeah. And before tonight, did you know that all of these different options existed? How much peace of mind would you have knowing that you owned that type of policy? That's exactly what the trainee's helping families with. Would you say this is pretty valuable for families? Awesome. The last type of account the trainee can help people with are called annuities or pensions. Are you familiar with annuities, or is that a newer term? Okay. Are you familiar with pensions? Yeah, all a pension was if you went back in the day and you worked for a company for 30 or 40 years, they would give you a large part of your salary or your income for life. You never had to worry about running out of money. But a lot of people today, all they have are 401ks or IRAs, and if they use up all their money, their money is gone and they can run out of money. Do you have any family members that are over the age of 55? In retirement, do you think that they want to run out of money? Nobody does. So how much value would it be for them if they knew there was a way they could convert their old 401k, IRA, or their savings into a strategy that would give them lower fees than they're currently paying, no market risk, they didn't have to worry about waking up one day and losing money, and guaranteed income for life, where they didn't have to worry about ever running out of money? Would that be a lot of value? That's exactly what the trainee's doing. If you had a family that had an old 401k or IRA, money sitting in the bank in a CD and mutual funds, an old 401k from a previous company, we could help the client move that money from the red line into the green line, usually with no taxes, no fees, no penalties, and be able to just do a transition and get them on a better path. Who comes to mind in your family you think would get value from something like that? Yeah, those would make great referrals for the trainee. And we could look at that old 401k that you had from your previous company. All we would need is a copy of a statement. Do you have an old statement lying around somewhere? Yeah, go grab it really quick. And do you have that policy that you mentioned? Grab it really quick. I'm going to show you something pretty cool. Awesome. Well, has anybody ever showed you? I know you told me that this type of policy was the one that gave you the most peace of mind. Has anyone ever showed you how much life insurance you need? May I help you calculate that? Awesome. There's a process